Professional sports are not about friendship or camaraderie. They are a brutal, cutthroat arena where money rules and sentiment dies quickly. In this world, there's one inescapable truth: your worth is measured solely by your market value. You either drive the engine that generates revenue, or you're a passenger, along for the ride, completely dependent on that engine to get anywhere. For nearly 25 years, the WNBA has operated like a league full of passengers. Teams ran a billion-dollar business that consistently hemorrhaged cash, surviving only because of NBA support. Meanwhile, a vocal group of veteran players cultivated an astonishing sense of entitlement. They saw themselves as global icons, untouchable figures in women's sports. Then Caitlin Clark arrived. She stepped onto the court, obliterated every viewership record, and pumped billions of dollars into the sport almost overnight. And the reaction? Not gratitude. The passengers didn't celebrate. They tried to take control, to hijack the momentum she created. What's unfolding now isn't a simple labor dispute. It's a corporate meltdown in slow motion. The WNBA Players Association is threatening to derail the 2026 season entirely. They're demanding guaranteed maximum contracts, free housing, and a staggering 50% of league revenue, essentially pointing a loaded gun at billionaire owners. The veteran establishment is trying to sell the narrative that the flood of new fans are loyal to the union. They believe their strike threat gives them absolute leverage, but their strategy is collapsing, and the very player they tried to suppress, Caitlin Clark, is the one exposing it. Clark has moved beyond the toxic, self-serving politics of the WNBA. At Team USA's training camp, she's executed a masterstroke that may go down as one of the most brilliant strategic moves in sports history. Without a single dig, without engaging in petty social media battles, she has shown the world she is the sport's irreplaceable asset. The WNBA needs her to survive. She doesn't need the WNBA. The footage from this international camp isn't just practice tape, it's a psychological masterstroke aimed directly at the veterans trying to hold the league hostage. The culture, the environment, and the focus on excellence at the global level highlight just how small and toxic the union politics look in comparison. Caitlin Clark has shifted the power dynamic completely, and the league is facing a reckoning.
Kind of doing some drills here. Let's see them cook up for a little bit. Chelsea, no look. Caitlin, side dribble. Main thing is they're enjoying themselves, man. I love it. Okay, Angel to Stu, easy work. It seems like Caitlin is hanging with Kelsey a lot. Paige always yelling. Paige yelling about anything these days.
There's no tension, no corporate stress weighing anyone down. This is Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, and the next wave of American basketball stars, laughing, competing, and yelling USA in unison. They are living the peak of their athletic prime, playing the game they love as elite professionals who actually enjoy being on the court. Now, contrast that with the dark, combative cloud hanging over the WNBA labor dispute. The veteran union leaders have manufactured a campaign of misery, trying to convince the public that they are oppressed victims in a world dominated by billionaire owners. They want media coverage fueled by anger, resentment, and constant threats of a work stoppage. They've poisoned the environment so badly that even their own vice presidents are leaking letters to ESPN begging for transparency. Caitlin Clark stepped onto the Team USA court, radiating pure, unfiltered joy, and in doing so, she completely dismantled the union's PR strategy. She sent a crystal clear message to sponsors, networks, and team owners. I am the safe, premium, drama-free investment. While the WNBPA appears chaotic and desperate, Clark shines as a consummate global superstar. She's proving that the toxicity in women's basketball isn't systemic. It's artificially created by a small, jealous faction of veteran players desperate to maintain their control. The union thought they could trap Caitlin Clark in their labor war, leveraging her popularity to pressure the owners. But Clark walked out the back door and stepped onto the biggest international stage on earth, completely rewriting the power dynamic. To truly understand the union's disastrous miscalculation, we need to look at market value through a corporate lens. In any high-stakes negotiation, you cannot bluff a billionaire. You cannot threaten to walk away when the person across the table knows you have no alternative. Yet the WNBA veterans believed they had independent market value. They thought the public would tune in to watch their legacy brand of basketball without Clark. They put it to the test. They created created the unrivaled 3-on-3 league, an entirely separate ecosystem designed to prove they could generate revenue without Caitlin Clark. The result? An absolute disaster. Ratings collapsed the moment the league launched. Fans saw that number 22 wasn't on the floor and immediately switched channels. Network executives at TNT, banking on a Caitlin Clark wave, were thrown into total panic. And it got worse. Cornerstone players like Aaliyah Boston suffered serious injuries in meaningless exhibition games, proving the venture was a financial and physical liability. The veterans played their trump card, and the market delivered a brutal verdict. Without Caitlin Clark, they are essentially worthless on a national broadcast. Now, flip the script. Watch what happens when the true golden goose steps onto the floor.
Mind you, look at the teams while y'all looking too. Look, Angel knocking them down, dog. I know it's quick. Caitlin with the game winner. Caitlin with the game winner, dog. Got the stun on him. Come on, man.
Caitlin Clark hits the game winner. That single moment is the entire business model. That's the product that justifies a $2 billion television deal. That's the magnetic generational talent commanding the attention of the global sports economy. WNBA owners, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, Joe Tsai, Matt Ishbia, they're all watching this Team USA footage and doing the math. When a billionaire sees Clark hitting a game winner in a practice drill and instantly going viral, they aren't just seeing a player. They're seeing market capitalization, leverage, and an asset that can't be replaced. If the WNBA Players Association goes through with their March 10th strike threat, the owners won't panic, they won't cave, because they understand the hard truth. The only asset that matters is Caitlin Clark, and Clark, right now, is completely insulated from the WNBA's self-destruction. If the 2026 season is delayed or canceled, the veteran players face total financial ruin, paychecks disappear, relevance evaporates, leases they demanded the league cover, they'll default. Their legacies? Forgotten. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark loses nothing. If the WNBA collapses, she simply channels her enormous, fiercely loyal audience into the FIA World Cup qualifiers. Broadcast on TNT Sports, the very network that abandoned the unrivaled league after realizing the veterans were a poor investment and pivoted billions to secure Clark's international rights. The union is trying to play high-stakes poker with no chips. They're threatening billionaires while simultaneously exposing themselves as a failed product without their rookie point guard. It's corporate delusion bordering on insanity. Here's the unspoken truth the mainstream media won't touch. This strike isn't about protecting working-class athletes. The rookies and their agents are begging for a deal. 80% of the league is still unemployed, waiting to sign contracts. The strike is a weapon wielded by the veteran establishment to halt Caitlin Clark's unstoppable rise. Consider the psychology at play. For decades, the old guard ruled a small, insular, unprofitable kingdom. They set locker room hierarchies, demanded blind respect from rookies, and controlled the narrative. Then Caitlin Clark arrived from Iowa. She shattered viewership records, brought in millions of new fans, secured massive endorsements from Nike and Gatorade, and rendered the veteran leadership culturally and financially irrelevant. They despise her. They resent her popularity. They hate that everything they spent 20 years building was overshadowed by a 22-year-old phenom. And now they fear her second season, fully healthy, fully adapted, and poised to dominate entirely on her own terms. The union's strike is a scorched earth attempt to steal a year of Clark's prime, silence the new fans, and prove the veterans still control the levers of power. They're willing to destroy the $2 billion media deal, wreck their own union members' livelihoods, and ignite a financial apocalypse, all to assert dominance. But Caitlin Clark just executed the ultimate counterstrike. She checkmated them, not with anger or aggression, but with quiet, unshakable humility.
Man, I think, this is every kid's dream. I think I wrote it down when I was in like 3rd grade. So I'm just excited about this opportunity. And I remember Kara Callan talking to us, like when me and Paige, and I know AB isn't here, but even I played with Ryan on the U19 team. Like on the junior national teams, there's only going to be like a couple of you that end up making it to make a senior debut. So whether that's the World Cup, whether the World Cup qualifier, whether that's, the Olympics, every single part of it and part of the journey is really special. So I know we're a ways away even from the World Cup and obviously a ways away from the Olympics, but this is still really exciting in its
Listen to the sheer, untouchable brilliance of that statement. Clark calls this opportunity every kid's dream. She shows deep respect for the platform, honors the journey, frames herself as a humble student of the game, and radiates absolute professionalism on the world's biggest stage. By taking this exact stance publicly, Caitlin Clark is dismantling the last-ditch narrative of the WNBA veterans. The old guard wants to label her entitled. They want to frame her fans as toxic. They want to present themselves as the noble keepers of basketball tradition. But Clark refuses to play the villain. She doesn't engage in petty mudslinging. She steps in front of international cameras and embodies a consummate, respectful professional. And in doing so, she exposes the union for exactly what it is: a chaotic, disorganized faction, petty, passive-aggressive, and actively sabotaging their own sport. By making her highly anticipated return on the international stage with Team USA, Clark has completely bypassed the WNBA's control. The FIBA qualifiers are a massive global television event. Clark is about to play high-stakes, meaningful basketball in front of millions, surrounded by the world's best players, completely free from the toxic politics, the bitter jealousy, and the petty grudges of the WNBA Players Association. Meanwhile, the WNBA sits metaphorically in a room with a thermal detonator, and the veteran leadership is threatening to press the button on March 10th. They think that by threatening destruction, they can force billionaires to surrender. But the billionaires, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the ownership groups, aren't focused on the veterans. They're watching Caitlin Clark. She is entirely outside the blast zone, poised to dominate the global stage, expand her brand, and generate hundreds of millions of dollars for the networks smart enough to follow her. If the WNBPA forces a lockout, they won't emerge as heroes defending labor rights. They'll become the architects of their own spectacular downfall. They'll alienate a new fan base, erase the league's momentum, and force owners to completely restructure the business, stripping players of leverage forever. When the strike ends and the smoke clears, Clark will remain the sport's ultimate draw. The bitter veterans who tried to hold her back will be left standing in unemployment lines, realizing they just committed one of the most humiliating acts of financial self-destruction in professional sports history. The media smokescreen has vanished. The manufactured illusion of a veteran sisterhood is shattered. Sports business is cold and absolute. You either move the financial needle, generate revenue, or you are systematically crushed by the corporate machine. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is the WNBA union risking a lockout purely out of jealousy over Caitlin Clark's dominance? Will the veteran players really follow through and destroy themselves financially? Or will billionaire owners crush them at the deadline? And just how massive will the global ratings be for Clark's Team USA debut while the WNBA burns in the background? If you want the unapologetic, unfiltered truth about the ruthless business of sports, the high-stakes leverage battles in corporate boardrooms, and the stories mainstream media refuses to cover, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video everywhere. We don't do sanitized PR narratives here. We expose the raw, bloody reality lurking in the shadows. Stay sharp. I'll see you in the next one.